Good afternoon, Shavua Tov everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm your host, Raylene Marks, and before we get into today's top stories, I just want to remind viewers that next week, Monday and Tuesday, we will not have an Israel Brief because it is Rosh Hashanah, it is the Jewish New Year, and we won't be bringing you the news headlines on those 2 days. But rest assured, Wednesday we'll be back and ready for business in a brand new Jewish year. But without further ado, let's kick off with today's top stories. And the news on everybody's minds is who's going to form the next government in Israel? Will it be Netanyahu? Will it be Gantz? What is happening? Where do we stand? Okay, so where we stand currently at this moment is that President Rivlin has concluded his consultations with the leaders of major political parties, and the recommendations for Prime Minister are 55 to Prime Minister Netanyahu, 54 to Kahol V'Lavan leader Benny Gantz. Benny Gantz's party, Kahol V'Lavan, currently is 2 seats ahead in the election results. So what happens now is that President Rivlin is backing calls for a broad-based unity government, which is a sentiment that both Netanyahu and Gantz have expressed that they are prepared to do, and President Rivlin has asked the two men to sit down and begin consultations with each other. Gantz still has to sit with Avigdor Lieberman, the leader of Israel Beiteinu party, and meet with him before he sits down to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu. However, quite controversially yesterday, Avigdor Lieberman, who we thought would have backed Benny Gantz, said that he's backing neither for Prime Minister. He said that Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to enter into alliances with the ultra-right, and Benny Gantz is prepared to include the joint list, who he sees has many representatives who are anti-Zionist or anti-Israel. Now, yesterday, a lot of controversy because the joint list, or at least 10 out of the 13 Chavarei Knesset, actually backed Benny Gantz for Prime Minister. Now, this is quite extraordinary because traditionally the joint list abstains from recommending a Prime Minister. However, they expressed that their intention was to push out Prime Minister Netanyahu, and therefore that would be the reason they would recommend Benny Gantz. So where we stand at the moment, hopefully the two party leaders with the biggest majorities will sit down and discuss how a broad-based unity government can be formed. I think it's everybody's hope that they'll be able to do this, and Israel will not head to a third round of elections. I think one of the big debates that will happen between the two men is who will take the helm, who will take the stewardship of this. Will it be a revolving one? Does that actually work? Only time will tell, but at least we are one step forward towards a premier. And in other really amazing news, yesterday the Israeli baseball team beat South Africa's baseball team 11-1 to qualify for the Olympics. So this is the first time in the history of baseball in Israel that the Israeli team have qualified for the Olympics. And so you can be sure we are getting ready for Tokyo, a major, major achievement. And staying with news around the world, last week we spoke a bit about the fact that the Women's March had released or gotten rid of the 3 notorious anti-Semites, Bob Bland, Tamika Mallory and Linda Sarsour, and had replaced them with Zara Billioo. Zara Billioo, as it came out, is a notorious anti-Zionist, notoriously anti-Israel, who has tweeted comments that are not in line with the philosophies of the Women's March, and after 3 days of sitting on their national executive was fired. Now she's hitting out at the firing, saying that they are bigoted and Islamophobic, and she got some backup by Rashida Tlaib, who is the congresswoman who created a lot of controversy when not only was she denied entry to Israel, but she refused to meet her grandmother, saying that she wouldn't basically bow down to the oppressors and not under these circumstances. However, she hasn't seen her grandmother since 2006. However, anyway, she gave a Twitter shout out to Zara Billioo, saying they can't silence us and we will carry on working for Palestinian rights. And in conclusion, I know many of us around the world, myself included, have all been hooked on the Netflix series The Spy, which tells the story of the Israeli spy Eli Cohen, who was captured in Syria and subsequently executed, and the tremendous work that he did there. Well, his widow is hitting out at Netflix, saying that the portrayal of her husband and herself are in fact inaccurate. The widow, who has never since married, says that not only is she not a seamstress as is portrayed by the TV series, but she doesn't even know how to sew. And the family were really hurt by allegations that during his term as a spy or as an agent, he had 17 mistresses. Well, we'll have to see how this pans out, but in the meantime, it is a series that has really captured everybody's imagination and reminded us of the great sacrifice made by many for the safety of the state of Israel. Now, if you want to read awesome content, don't forget that you can go online to our website, www.layoftheland.online. Today we have a really, really beautiful story written by Gina Raphael, who's the chairman of WITSO Los Angeles. She tells the account of her family's adoption of their 3 beautiful Chinese daughters. And a week before Rosh Hashanah, it's exactly what we need. It's beautiful, it's moving, and I encourage you to read it. If you don't want to read it online, read it on Facebook. We're there at Lotto site, and while you're there, like us and follow us, share our content, please, and invite your friends to like us and follow us as well. And also, we are all over social media, including YouTube, and you can check us out on YouTube at The Israel Brief, and while you're there, subscribe to make sure that we get Israel's story out to as many as possible. I'm Rolene Marks with The Israel Brief. We'll chat again tomorrow.